Yeah, hello.
Is this Rob from Order 42?
Yes, who's this?
That's not important. What matters is that you're in danger.
Really? Oh my god.
Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm you from the future. I'm editing this video right now.
Well, that's really meta.
I'll say. So, what'd you think of The Matrix Resurrections?
Well, I'm in the middle of writing my notes right now, and wait a minute. If you're editing the video, then shouldn't you know what I think of it?
Well, not really. It's like you can't make up your mind about it.
Look, I don't have time for this. I've got to figure this out and get this video recorded.
Good luck with that. God, what an idiot.
In a world of two realities, everyday life and what lies behind it, Thomas Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. Choice, while an illusion, is still the only way in or out of the Matrix, which is stronger, more secure, and more dangerous than ever before. The movie stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jessica Henwick, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Jonathan Groff, and Neil Patrick Harris. You may not remember this, but when The Matrix came out back in 99, right? I mean, we had, The Phantom Menace that year? And that was kind of the one that everyone was looking forward to. Keanu Reeves had done Johnny Mnemonic, and everybody was kind of like, a cyberpunk kind of movie with Keanu Reeves? Yeah, I don't know. The Matrix came out, and I'm going to tell you, we saw it opening night, and it was electric in there. Like collective gasps from the crowd because we were seeing something that we knew was special. We knew it was groundbreaking. I mean, you had the crazy sci-fi story with the groundbreaking special effects, the amazing martial arts being on display, and the soundtrack was killer. I mean, it was an amazing experience. Then we got the sequels, and some people didn't like them at all. I was a pretty big fan of Reloaded. I thought Reloaded was really good, and I really enjoyed the way it ended because I thought they were going in a certain direction, which they didn't go into, and which was kind of a disappointment for me. And it was this was one of those movies, those turning point type movies for me, Revolutions I'm talking about, where you sort of have to separate yourself from what you had expected. And if you can watch the movie on its own terms, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I always thought there was room for a Matrix 4, but I didn't really know what they would do. And this, I have to say, I mean, it's definitely a thing. I mean, it's definitely different. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about a little about the first act. It's not, I wouldn't consider this to be super spoilery stuff, but I do need to talk about it in order to talk about the movie. So I'm going to do that. So this movie starts out and we're back in a Matrix, so to speak. We're a new version of the Matrix where Thomas Anderson is a software developer and he created a series of very, very popular games called The Matrix. So yeah, it's very, very meta, right? And the whole thing that's driving the story forward is that Warner Brothers is making them create a Matrix 4. And they will make it with them or without them. And when someone says the word meta, the idea of being self-referential, there's I don't think there's going to be a better example going forward than the Matrix Resurrections. I mean, I don't know if it needs to be recoined as a term, but I think Matrix Resurrections is definitely the most meta of anything meta that I've ever meted. I've talked about this a couple of times on the channel, that the idea of the disconnection point, a point in the movie where you're completely taken out of the storytelling and you're distracted or whatever. It could be, a cell phone going off in the theater, somebody kicking your chair in the theater. It could be, you having to go to the restroom. But then when the movie does it, when the movie does something that you don't like, you don't agree with, you're confused by, it can make you disconnect from the storytelling and you don't enjoy the movie anymore. Unfortunately, I think that The Matrix Resurrections has multiple different points in the story that could be disconnect points for people. Now, me personally, I zoomed all the way through those, and I thought they were awesome. I thought it was kind of a cool idea. The idea of the Matrix being so aware of itself and aware of how things work that it can do the thing inside the Matrix, refer to itself, and it still work for the people that are still plugged into the Matrix. I thought that was kind of cool. There's a lot of ideas all the way through the movie that are really, I mean, just super, super well thought out. Unfortunately, not all of them are well executed. In a lot of ways, I enjoyed the meta-ness of the movie. The problem is that middle act, that second act, has such a large, exposition-heavy, sleep-inducing slowdown. My wife actually dozed off in the middle of that part. I usually have a lot of patience when it comes to movies. The rest of my life, I'm sort of an ADHD kind of like, oh, look, shiny thing. But this was losing me. And I could feel myself being lulled into this like, okay, something needs to happen because, wow, that's a lot. The Matrix trilogy had these amazing shots, martial arts action, right? Where you can tell that the actors themselves were doing the fighting and they were very, very skilled. You know, they spent months training. This is edited in a way that makes it look like they weren't exactly skilled fighters because they were just quick shots. Even some of the I guess the regular action scenes with guns and explosions and things, it was shot in a very, I mean, I'll just say pedestrian kind of boring way. There wasn't a whole lot of like, ooh, that's like a classic Matrix shot. You know what I mean? There just wasn't a whole lot of that there. And that was kind of disappointing. Now, acting wise, look, it's almost cheating using Keanu Reeves. He's such a likable guy. And I love his performance in this. He's still sort of like the clueless, like, oh, I don't really know what's going on. But some of his delivery was really funny and endearing. And it's Keanu, right? And seeing Carrie-Anne Moss again, I didn't think I would have such a reaction to seeing her again, but seeing them both in action again was, I gotta say, it hit the nostalgia factor. The rest of the cast did an amazing job too. I mean, Jessica Henwick was probably I guess, one of the new characters. She was really likable, and she's exactly the kind of character that this movie needed. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II playing Morpheus. There's a reason for that, and you'll see that through the movie, but he did fine. He did fine, and he was actually quite likable. In fact, I've liked him in just about everything I've seen him in. So, yeah, he's great. And Jonathan Groff as a character, he was I saw a lot of people online kind of saying he was wasted, he was too this, he was too that. I completely bought him as the character, and I enjoyed it. So, I mean, there's that. And Neil Patrick Harris, look, can this guy do any wrong? I enjoyed him immensely in every aspect of his character. He has I'll say a soliloquy of sorts that was awesome, and really, really enjoyed it, and was sitting there going, you know what? Philosophically, that's really, really interesting. And I dig that. And I saw a lot of people complaining about the effects. There are moments, especially in the third act, that are really cool, but not, it almost felt like a parody of The Matrix in a way. And in some parts, it's almost like it didn't have the same impact that some of the other movies had, especially in the, I guess the camera angles and things like that. It wasn't shot that interestingly, which is kind of a bummer. And this is coming from somebody that has utmost respect for Lana Wachowski. I think she is amazing. I've thought she's been amazing for a very, very long time. Even the movies that don't really land. I still enjoy parts of it. I sometimes just enjoy watching the movies, right? Even if the movie's not really great. But that's beside the point. I feel like direction was fantastic. I feel like the writing was a little heavy-handed, maybe a little too on the nose in some parts, but for the most part, I thought that was a fine job. I just feel like the story could have used some tightening up. So I don't really know where Resurrections fits in. I guess the best way that I can explain it is if this was say a one-off graphic novel of an ongoing series, just a one-off graphic novel, a separate story, all that kind of thing, I think it would have worked really well. And I think that's what it's like. It's not as good as the original series, but on its own, it's not bad, but it's not great either. It's such a weird it's such a weird thing. I mean, is it possible to like something and still be disappointed with it at the same time? Because that's how I'm feeling. So Matrix Resurrections, have you seen it, and what did you think about it? Because like I said, I am completely confused. I like a lot of things about it. I like pretty much everyone involved. I thought they did a great job in a lot of ways. I just feel like it just didn't quite reach the heights of the Matrix trilogy. And that's a thing. So yeah, let me know what you think down below and we'll talk about it. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.